I don't think men should get married.
Okay, I think they should.
Okay, why?
I think most people here would agree with me.
Why? Yeah, most women would agree with you. Why?
Do you want to get married?
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
Christian.
But he's not a woman.
What?
No, you.
The legal aspects, also how it shows commitment, that sort of thing.
Does it?
What's the reason why you don't want to get married, or why you think it's not?
Well,
as
I'll
important?
just the commitment thing. What couldn't I just make the reverse argument? A woman who's willing to stay with you absent marriage is more committed to you.
I think that, yeah, I think getting married, I think that's like a big step towards, being, like, what's it called? Like being one. Like, I think that's.
What do you mean? So you're talking on the spiritual?
Like unity, like just, no, but unity.
I mean, yes. I mean, that's a biblical reference.
Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah.
Are you Christian?
Oh, yeah.
You? Oh, okay. All right. What
Yeah.
denomination?
Non-denominational.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, so I understand, I guess, the justifications for why, the sole justification for a Christian man to get married is because of the faith. But in terms of, if you actually look at the, in addition to faith benefits, there are really none that would weigh against the negative outcomes.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, do you want kids?
Yeah. Why do I need to get married to have kids?
It's just, I feel like more likely than not, the woman's not gonna want to. I'm sure you can find one that will, but it's just like the extra security.
Yeah, sure. She might be more willing to want to have kids with the protection of marriage, but
and also there's all these marriage sets that keep coming out recently, and
So-
they're all like
Sure.
men are happier in marriages than women usually. And if that's what you're kind of worried about, her not being as happy, then I get that in that sense maybe, but not in the sense that I think you're trying to make.
yeah, I'm not sure what that means. But hold on, I'm gonna answer that. I just want to let this chat come in.
O.J. Simpson donated $200.
Yeah, thank you, OJ.
Great to see you, Mason. Chair 5, I appreciate your posture. You seem good at following instructions. I have selected you to bear my children.
Oh.
The boys will be soldiers, the girls will be ballerinas.
Did you do any ballet?
O.J. Simpson.
I did dance, but no ballet. But thank you. And my boys will be soldiers. The girls might be ballerinas if they want.
There you go.
But be careful. He allegedly may harm you in the future.
Oh yeah,
The soldier?
name.
O.J. Simpson.
O.J. Simpson.
Oh.
He's-
What is
He killed his wife. He
Yeah.
killed his wife. He killed his wife.
Yeah.
Okay, really quick on marriage. We won't linger too long on the marriage topic. But so, what was your?
So there's a lot of stats coming out recently that say that men are supposedly more happier than in marriages than women because of a lot of things that are happening within these marriages. But that's what I was saying. I guess I was saying, well, maybe if you care about the woman's happiness, then therefore I could see maybe not wanting it and having like a reasonable.
Yeah, I mean, so
reason.
I guess what I'm trying to get though, because you say, well, it's for the woman, for the woman, for the woman. I think you also said that the woman, if you're not willing to marry her, she might be hesitant to pursue have children with you because she has concerns there. But I'm still not actually hearing a reason, like a compelling argument
For a guy.
for why the guy. I know how that's good for you guys, the woman,
Yeah.
and you could say by proxy, by extension, like if it's good for her, it's good for you or whatever. But where's the actual benefit to the guy? Because I can give you all the negatives, but one of you, if you're trying to convince me, give me a positive.
Yeah, I feel like women also are more willing to submit if they're in a marriage. Of course, they probably won't as much or do as much. That's just something, or they should anyway do that if they love themselves. But you're right. Nowadays, there's a lot of women that aren't doing that, and they should be.
I mean, I think a woman should submit right away.
Yeah, it depends.
I mean,
'cause
y'all.
it depends how much
How
money
about-
you guys
wait.
are making and your energy levels.
Well, let me ask the girls here a question. Just a quick show of hands. Do you want a guy to pay for the first date? On the date? Show of hands.
the
Raise them
first
high,
one.
please. Yes, 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 yes. You don't care. Yes, yes. So it's like, hold on, but you're not married. Why do you expect the guy to fall into his traditional gender roles? You're not married yet. If I'm using your logic, all the girls here would have to be like, oh, okay, we're going to go 50-50 until we're married, but most women don't move like that, right? So this idea that, oh, I'm only going to submit when we're married, okay, then you can protect yourself until we're married. We can share leadership until we're married, so you got to ask me out at the same rate that I ask you out. I'm talking more broadly speaking with women. You guys have to initiate dates. You guys got to initiate sex. You got to initiate the first kiss. You got to do all the things that you guys kind of look to men to do. That's got to be 50-50 now. You got to pay for dates. You got to do everything.
In that case, I feel like also if you do get married, it should be the same then, because if you're dating someone that is going 50-50 the whole time, I don't know. I had it in my head, sorry. I just got a brain fart. But yeah, I just feel like if you're only going 50-50 the whole time until marriage, I wouldn't even want to marry that person if I wanted him to provide more. Because I would want to see it before the marriage.
Yeah. But so your argument for why a guy should get married is she's going to be submissive in the marriage. Well, like if she was like combative before the marriage in the relationship, and she's like, no, but just you wait and see, make this massive commitment to me, then I'll be submissive. I'll be like,
I guess it kind of two-way street, I guess.
Two-way street.
A little bit. Like you should also. Are we talking about financially only, or are we talking about like everything?
Well, now I'm talking. You said submission. You were talking about the woman being submissive.
Yeah.
It's like you gotta lead with that as a woman. Oh, you'll be submissive 3 months into the relationship. You'll be submissive. When we're married, it ain't gonna materialize once we're married. Trust me. Like if you're combative now, it's gonna be way worse once you got me on lock, once you have me locked down, and then I get fucked if I divorce you. It's gotta be upfront with submission. What's up?
What if we got rid of no fault divorce? Would that change your mind?
What do you mean no fault?
No fault divorce.
Whenever they
like
feel
you'd
like
have to be,
divorced.
you'd have to. Essentially.
I'm actually not in favor of that because like women would just like fucking lie. Oh, I can't get out of marriage. Okay, he abused me.
Okay, what if this was
Fucking
like
liar.
150 years ago?
What do you mean?
I'm trying to understand if you disagree with the fundamental basis of marriage, or if it's just in the context of Western modern women.
I don't know about the dating meta 150 years ago. I'm just talking about.
Do you believe in God?
How is that relevant?
Just as it pertains to like the religious faith.
You're gonna have to, before I answer that question, you're gonna have to explain to me how it pertains at all to the conversation
Of marriage, because I think if
I'm secular.
Okay.
Wait, but I have a question, because I know that you want like a high value woman, and I feel like high value women want to be married before they have kids, and I don't know how you're gonna find someone to have kids with if that's the kind of woman you're looking for, but you don't want marriage.
She's gonna have to fall into my frame. Like, are you submissive? Okay, here's how it's gonna be. You're not getting married. Sorry. Like, for example, even in the Christian faith, I'm pretty sure, look, I'm not a theological expert or anything. If there was like a state entity, the government, that was like, okay, we're gonna basically persecute Christians because you guys desire getting married. In order for men to get married, they have to cut off their arm. Okay. And then if you do get married, even privately, we're gonna persecute you anyway. Like if you try to do it, like you can't get a marriage license if you're Christian. So, look, I don't know what the theological answer to this is, but I'm pretty sure like, actually, I feel like me and Andrew debated this, and he was like, no, the Christian men would just like, in some crazy hypothetical scenario where it was impossible for them to get married. Fuck, whatever, this is so niche, whatever. My position is the state of affairs when it comes to the law and marriage is so biased against men and just totally destroys men. It's just not the right move. It's a massive liability. And because the state, it's all fucked up, I think I have no qualms with men not wanting to be married.
What about the legal aspect, power of attorney, survivor benefits?
If we just met today, could I give you power of attorney over me?
No.
Yes, I could. I could literally give you power of attorney right now.
Can you?
Yes.
I don't know. Okay.
Yes, we don't. You can. All of the. There's a. I think it's called an advanced. Something like an advanced medical directive or something. I don't know. There's a different term for it.
Okay.
I don't know the exact term. Yes, I could give somebody. There's a specific term for it. Essentially, yes, I can make somebody my power of attorney.
Well, what
I
if
don't need to have
you're in the hospital and you're not married and like your significant other like would want to visit you in the hospital, like, or make a call for, a medical emergency or something? Would you want that?
I mean, I'm pretty sure that, I don't know, the different hospitals have different policies. Can somebody who's not like immediate family or your spouse, can they visit you in the hospital? I don't know. This still isn't really a compelling enough reason to get married. Like, okay, in the event that I'm fucking dying, like, I'm fucking dead, whatever.
Do you think you feel that way because of like the way society is today? Like if you were, like if it was like the 50s, would you still feel that way about marriage?
I'd probably feel differently about it, sure, yeah. Yeah, there's just certain legal ramifications. But I mean, pretty much with the legal stuff though, I could write, can somebody in the chat tell me, is it like an advanced healthcare directive or something that would allow like a girlfriend, I could be like, here, you can come see me in the hospital. I don't know. Are there any other compelling arguments for why men should get married though?
Or just like, because if you're married when you do divorce, having that contract, I guess, if it's like a prenup or like splitting assets or maybe splitting debt or like who gets what, that's like contractually there.
So you're in favor of prenups?
I think it depends on the relationship, but I think if people want it, then I would get a prenup.
Your boyfriend's the breadwinner? He's like, I want you to sign this prenup. You gonna sign it?
Yeah.
You won't feel like, you don't trust me, blah, blah, blah?
No.
You wouldn't say, okay. Some women will feel that type of way, but if I'm not married, I don't need a prenup. I don't need any of that. So why should I get married?
Well, I'm just saying, like, I don't know. I feel like the legal aspects is like kind of secondary, and then the most important part is, I guess, is just like the unity, and then also, just having that trust and everything, and being a, like you said, like a more, how did you phrase it?
Like what?
Like a powerful woman, or I don't know the exact
high
adjective.
value,
Yes,
high
a high value, just like high value
Sure.
women. I think that is the most important aspect.
So yeah, I actually agree with this point. So I agree with Ashley that by virtue of me not wanting to get married, I'm gonna probably lose certain dating prospects. Don't care.
Okay.
Don't care.
Okay.
Plenty of fish in the sea.
Okay.
And I mean, if she's really about me, here's the thing. Like, she has to come into, like, you guys might not agree with this, but here's my view. When it comes to a relationship, it's got to be my way. You might think, Brian, that's fucking crazy. Look, you guys want us to lead. You want us to take the initiative. You want us to provide. Like, if with the girl, like, just to be clear, I'm not like some playboy that's trying to fuck 10 different chicks, Dan Bilzerian, that type of shit. I like relationships, right? But I don't feel like I could have a lifelong date or be with this woman for the rest of my life, have kids, all that. I don't think I need marriage to have that, though. And if you're really about me, you're gonna be like, I love you, I don't need it.
I've seen this work before. Oh, my bad. But they didn't have kids. But yeah, there's a lot of people that do, and I get it.
Like, I think there's something valuable in the sense of, especially in relationships, a lot of people, everyone always says when people break up, like, oh, communication wasn't like the strongest, or like that's usually an issue that people have. I think there's something very pivotal about saying, I am going to make a public declaration that you are going to be the person that I choose to go through life with. I think that alone, a lot of people in relationships will pause and go, I don't know if I want to make that commitment to the person that I'm dating right now. I think for two reasons it's beneficial in the sense of really saying, one, really having you analyze as the person that you're spending your time with and the person that you're committing your valuable time, the one thing you can never get back, the thing you are choosing to build a life with someone. I'm willing to put it all in front of everyone, put my heart on line to say to you, this is the commitment I'm making to you as a person. Because you can say, yeah, you can build a life with someone without getting married. I know people that have been dating for a long time. But the thing about it is, usually when life gets hard, they don't have to stay with you. They've never made that commitment. If you get into a motorcycle accident and you don't know if you're going to be walking again, like, I mean, I had a lot of people tell me, hey, you're not married to this guy, like, you can walk away. So I think it's more of like when life gets hard, when you lose your job. Because if you're really with someone and you're not married, when you lose your job and you can't provide, if you're the breadwinner, the girl can leave. And, you know, it's those things of actually having someone say, no, I'm choosing to go through life with you, stand by your side, and I've made that commitment to you. I think that holds a lot of weight, and a lot of people look at their relationships differently when they do that. Because I know guys who will build a life with a girl, and then they're like, but I can't make that commitment to marry her because I don't see her as that. And I'm like, wow, that's, I think even guys who don't get married often hold so much value and weight on marriage for that reason.
I mean, you can make the public statement without getting legally married.
Well, and that's the thing that a lot of people, like, you can have the entire wedding, you can do it if the celebration is what the girl wants and that kind of thing. No one ever goes to you and says, hey, let me see your marriage license. Like, I want proof you did it. So you technically could actually do the entire ceremony and everyone thinks that you're married. You call them your wife. The only thing is you don't do the taxes. You know, you would file as single. But like past that, you've made that public declaration. I think that would even be really interesting for people to say. But I do think there's something that really holds weight to say, I'm going to stake my claim and I'm going to put myself out there and say, this is the person that I choose to go through life with. And I think that's where it's really valuable, secular or not. Like,
well, yeah. I mean, I guess, but the issue is that if you look at the divorce rate, people make this declaration, they get the marriage license, they do the ceremony, the wedding ceremony, and the divorce rate is still really, really high.
But so you know that divorce rate is actually skewed because majority, I think it's 58% of people that get divorced will be married.
People who remarry.
Well, no. So here's the thing: it's like 50 or 6. It's 58 or 68%, I think, of people remarry within 5 years of getting a divorce. So if someone's already gone through something that is so tragic, so heartbreaking, all this, why are these people signing up to do it again? There is some value in that. Because think if you've got burned and you've touched the stove and you got burned, but you choose to do it again, and so many people choose to do it again, there is that weight and that commitment. Sure. They actually can speak to the fact they're like, no, I actually want to get married again. I do think there's a difference in that. Because I think there's a difference when you can say, like, there's a saying, like, if you wanna take the island, you got to burn the boats. When people say, oh, I want to move in together before we get married because I want to see if we would get along. That's very different than if you say, hey, we're married, we have to get along. So how are we going to make this work? There's a very different level of, I can just go or I can dip out. It's, no, okay, now we're married. Now we live together. I don't like the way you fold your clothes and you don't like the way I put the dishes. You can't just leave. Now we actually have to figure this out. And I think that's a very different weight that you have. Like, if you have siblings and you're a kid and you fight with your sibling, your parents are like, figure it out. You don't have a choice. Y'all are under the same roof. You can't go and leave. So I think that's where marriage really holds a lot of value, is you're not only saying, hey, I'm going to go through life with this person, but I'm choosing to figure this out and go through the hard things with you versus just tapping out and starting over.
Let me ask you a question, though. What do you think about this scenario? Man, women, they get married. Mm-hmm. There's no abuse. He treats her well, treats the kids well. Mm-hmm. No abuse, reminder there. She's just vaguely unhappy. Vaguely unhappy. Should she get a divorce?
No. And so one thing I will say, so this is one of the hard conversations that him and I had to have, is what are your thoughts on a prenup? And we actually differ. I'm for a prenup and he's not. And I think that a prenup should actually, and it was something that he was really surprised when I brought it up.
And get the prenup.
But so here's the thing.
Cover your bases.
I think marriage is a law-abiding, you are signing a contract. I think you have every right in the contract to make divorce as hard as possible. So like in my prenup, I want to say, if you want to divorce me, if you choose to cheat on me and leave me for another woman, you leaving me with everything. The only way I'm going to sign up for a divorce.
No.
So unhappy is not a reason.
So generally, when we had this argument, this disagreement, and she said she wanted a prenup, generally what people assume from a prenup, and I know this is like,
to protect the man.
To protect, it's to protect the man, but like to be like, okay, we're gonna prepare for the divorce before it even happens. when she explained what she meant by a prenup, I'm actually more on board with it. Because essentially her version of the prenup is to make the divorce as hard as possible. It's making like the decision, if I wanted to get a divorce, it would make it infinitely more difficult for me to get the divorce. Like if I initiate it, I would give up everything that I own. It'd all become hers. Or if she initiated the divorce, she would lose everything.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm totally for that.
I mean,
I actually love that idea.
The thing with a prenup too is that if you get legally married, it's a contractual obligation. It's just whether or not the state makes it or whether or not you make it. And
Yeah.
the state changes the laws all the time, which is another thing, especially with how the laws have been changing in women's favor.
And I kind of like, I mean, I go as far to say that I don't believe that there should be a government like litigation in marriage. Like I think.
Wouldn't that make you in support of a prenup then? I mean, but then arguably
like,
you could
there's no,
fight a prenup.
Like there's no registering with the government that you're married. Like I think it only should be something that the church deals with. I think
Okay.
the government should have no say, nothing. Like there's no benefits that the government gives you, no like contractual obligations.
I actually support that.
I'm only for like the church, because I mean, nowhere in the Bible does God talk about getting married as something that the government should be involved with. It is literally only between the church, God, and the two people getting married.
Well, yeah, and I can definitely understand why Brian doesn't want to get married because, and I used to have different feelings about this, but I mean, women are arguably, depending on the state that you're in, arguably incentivized to get divorced, especially if they're dating up like we tend to, because again, you can say hypergamy isn't a thing, you can say you don't care about this and that, you do, generally it's a thing.
It is.
So, if that's the expectation, if that's how relationships tend to go, and then the other side of it too is that women initiate most divorces because they experience higher rates of negative emotion, so they tend to be at any given time the unhappier person in the relationship. That's why like relationships between like lesbian relationships have like a 90 or a 75% separation or divorce rate once they get married. It's absolutely insane.
Well, and I think that's going back to like what I was saying earlier about with the marriage. I think people need to do a much better job about vetting the person that they marry. I think you really have to think like, okay, everything is good right now, but when push comes to shove, when life goes bad, is this person resilient? Do I like their characters? Are these the things that I'm focusing on? I think a prenup is something that like you can make it in favor of the marriage. I think a lot of people always look at it as like worst case scenario, but it's like, no, I want it to say if he decides to leave me 30 years from now for a 22-year-old, he has to forfeit everything. Like I want him to really think about those things, and I think that's where people don't necessarily view a prenup. I think they always think of it as just in like division of the assets, but there's so much more that you can actually say like, hey, no, I want to make sure that you are going to stick by me through and through, and it's going to be so hard for you you can't just walk away. And I think because a lot of women, and it is sad that a lot of divorces are initiated by women, they're not leaving because they're unhappy, it's because they think they can be happier somewhere else. The grass is greener where you water it, not on the other side.
We got a chat coming in here from Chris. I see your super chat too, Chris. We'll get to it.
$200. 41. Make $2 million a year.
Oh.
Not married to my girl. She can make financial and medical decisions for me if I am unable
Thank you,
via
Chris.
the trust and power of attorney.
Yep.
Men who are winning and aware do not get married.
Are you aware? Yo, Chris, thank you for the TTS. It's a good point, and I do think I was correct. I was a little uncertain, but I do believe it is called an advanced medical directive, and then the power of attorney would also grant. The advanced medical directive would be simply if you wanted somebody to be able to make medical decisions for you. The power of attorney, they can make decisions about pretty much everything, money, health, maybe, I don't know what the other areas of that would be, but yeah, so anyways, look, really quick with the prenups, I think it's kind of like prenups, if the woman's motivated enough, I was coerced to sign it, like, bro, you can get out of it, you can challenge it, anything can be legally challenged. And especially in the United States, it's fairly, actually I heard, maybe this isn't the case, but it's fairly litigious, and people are kind of sue hungry, so you can challenge it, it'll just create conflict. I'm just, look, personally, not in favor of marriage. I think the divorce rate's really bad. Women overwhelmingly initiate breakups. They overwhelmingly initiate divorces. And ultimately, when it comes to marriage is a contract. Even if you're religious, if you're married, the state presides over your marriage, not the church, not God. When you go and get divorced, you're going to go talk to some atheist attorney who doesn't give a fuck about your biblical values. The state presides. Your attorney is going to try to get as much money for you and by proxy for him as possible. Because a lot of these divorce attorneys, they're going to do like, okay, we're going to get some, I mean, you could pay them hourly, but they're going to get some portion of the potential proceeds in the divorce, and there's just a lot of negative consequences. And yeah, just not really in favor of it. Chris also wrote it here as a super chat, so we'll read it here. 41, make $2 million a year, not married to my girl. We have a daughter. I created a trust and gave her power of attorney. She can make financial and medical decisions for me if I am not able to. Men who are winning and aware do not get married. Only simps who don't know the law. So yeah, I just think, look, you never sign a contract with somebody who's rewarded for breaking a contract. If you actually were to, like, let's say it wasn't a marriage, but you proposed that same exact contract to somebody in like a business sense, it makes it doesn't make sense. It literally doesn't make sense. And I don't know. To me, it's kind of crazy. But
yeah. Which is like, I don't understand. I mean, for someone who's not a Christian, I don't understand why they do get married. If they truly believe that there is no God, there is no gender order, like God created man as a leader, woman as the person to submit, and he made that order. If you don't believe that, why are we getting married? Why does that make sense? Like, why is that what people continually chase after? I mean, honestly, I mean, it's more logical if you say you're not a Christian, if you don't believe in that stuff, then I totally get why you wouldn't get married. 'Cause, I mean, in our society right now, there is great punishment to getting married if you're a man.
Yep.
And if you're not a Christian, like, there's no, you shouldn't have that theological feeling that you need to as well, that order from God.
And to my point, when it comes to the contract thing, marriage is a contract. And so, again, like, you cannot sign a contract that there's like terms in the contract that if you breach it, if the other party breaches the contract, they get financially rewarded. So if you're just like, I'm just not gonna, I want a divorce starts looking really enticing. If you're dating a guy who's earning decent money, good money, or if he's rich, it starts looking really, really enticing to, okay, I'm vaguely unhappy, there's no abuse, but I want new dick, whatever it is. Oh, okay, I'm going to get half of what he earned during the course of the marriage. I'm going to get the house. I'm going to get XYZ material assets. I'm going to get alimony for 5 years, and he's going to pay me $5,000 a month. Oh, okay, yeah, that sounds good. Makes total, anyways, whatever. I do have to move it on. Thank you, Chris, for that super chat. You're a fucking legend. Thank you, man.